Hey everybody, thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Pint Pals podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you go down and click on the little subscribe button and then hit the little ding bell. And later, if you get annoyed of looking at Lucas and myself, you can go ahead and hit the unsubscribe, but then go over to Spotify and drop us a follow. Or if you like to listen on iHeartRadio, Apple, or Google Cloud Podcasts, we appreciate you all. Now it's time to open up a cold one, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Pint Pals podcast. It is I, Lucas, and Nate, again, is not here with us. He has decided to take another vacation. So instead, I asked my very good friend Chris from Aistear Brewing to come on the show, and he's going to walk us through some of the beers that he had for his third anniversary, right? Was it third?
Second anniversary.
Second anniversary of Aistear. And his whole Aistear Con that he just had last weekend. So Thanks for coming on, Chris. I appreciate you being here.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate you inviting me, and your hair is looking fantastically orange today.
Thank you. I'm glad that it's come out a little bit more orange today than the normal weird yellow tinge that I've been getting.
Yeah.
So what exactly so you've been open for 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about a little bit like how you got started, where you're located so people know how to find you, and
Sure.
A little bit about what happened this past weekend?
Yeah, that's a good idea. So we are in Bowling Green, Aistear Brewing. It's not spelled at all like it sounds because it's Irish, and a lot of our theme is based around like Celtic mythology, fantasy, Dungeons and Dragons kind of stuff. So as Lucas knows, we're all decked out with weapons on the walls and a dragon head and all kinds of like old school tavern feel. Like you walk into a tavern in Skyrim. That was kind of the feeling we were going for. So we're in Bowling Green. We've been open 2 years and 2 days now. So that's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Coming through. Yeah, I mean, with COVID and everything, it took a big chunk of that. But it's amazing to be here. So, and the whole start was it was home brewing, just like every other brewer. I feel like everyone starts in their garage on a small scale, and you get the itch for it, and you just keep going bigger and bigger until you're like, to hell with it, let's go. And so, we invested in some equipment and found this building, which is a unique little A-frame right on Main Street as you're headed into Bowling Green, and went for it. And then COVID bitch slapped us a little bit, and we took it on the chin and kept moving. So here we are. And then, for our 2 year anniversary, we did the same thing for the 1 year anniversary, which you were at too. So we dreamed up this convention, right? Because our customer base is very geek, nerd culture oriented, just like myself, super nerd over here. So I love going to cons and, Comic Cons and game cons and things like that. And that was kind of the idea behind it, was just to have that kind of thing, especially in the heat of COVID last year, where some of the artists and artisans could go out, show off what they're making, because those events weren't happening. They couldn't happen because of the virus and the social distancing and things like that. So we were very cautious and threw a small party to let people come in and show their stuff off, and vendors to be present and spaced out, and customers to not only enjoy our first anniversary, but also to be able to visit some of those. And it went off better than I could have imagined. So we decided to bring it back this year, and we themed it around the chromatic dragons from Dungeons and Dragons, brought in a couple of dragon gods, and upped the game side of things, had a lot more tabletop gaming, and things of that nature, just because we could get people in a little closer than we could last year. And I mean, you were there. I think it was pretty amazing. We were packed from start to finish. So yeah, it was great.
You know this better than anybody. I mean, I've always enjoyed my time going to Aistear. Like when I lived up in Bowling Green, I wasn't there on opening night, but I was there. I think either the second or the third day that you were open.
Right.
And I remember last year's anniversary, and I do have to say, I think this one was was better than last year's, just because, more people were allowed to be there.
Right.
And were there more vendors than there were last year?
It was probably about the same amount of vendors because we packed that brew house pretty full of tables.
Yeah.
We didn't do as many, like last year. I think I tried to do a lot more small events like the Magic tournament and having you run the Smash tournament. And some of that stuff, I mean, COVID influenced it obviously, but some of those events didn't really take off. So we kind of narrowed it down to more of, you're laughing because of the Smash tournament.
The Smash tournament went,
what was it, like 2 or 4 people in
it? Was, I think I had a max of 6, and it was because I was the 6th person.
Right. And I had none of the characters unlocked on the game at that point.
Yeah.
Lucas literally spent the first half of the day unlocking characters on Super Smash Brothers because I had bought the game for the event.
And I had like maybe just 4 or 5 characters unlocked throughout that time playing, and I'm like, all right, I'm done with this.
Let's just so you know, I played the shit out of it after that just to unlock even more in case we ever want to try it again. But
hey, we can try it again. I'm more than welcome to come up there.
This year we kind of just narrowed it down to more of what our little niche is, right? Instead of trying to go broad spectrum, we went more of the tabletop and the board games and the vendors and the beer. And that was where our focus was for Aistear Con 2.
Well, speaking of the beer, do you want to, I guess I'll get started with one of the ones that you gave me from this weekend.
So while you pour that, I'll talk about them a little bit, what the idea was behind it. So we did all 8 new beers. And I recently, this spring, I would say, it was probably right around April, I brought in a co-brewer to kind of help me out, and his name's Cody Thompson. We're not related, but we do feel like brothers sometimes, and we bicker like brothers sometimes. But he and I kind of dreamed this up where we were going to do 8 brand new beers just for the anniversary to really make it feel special. And we spent the whole summer and fall just prepping and planning and brewing, and holy crap, that's a gorgeous color.
It is.
So we themed 5 of the beers after the 5 base chromatic dragons. So you have red, white, black, green, and blue. And then we brought in our 2 dragon gods, Bahamut and Tiamat. And then we brought back our seltzer that our Mug Club dreamed up, which is the prismatic dragon, which does exist in D&D. I didn't realize that when we first did it. I thought we were kind of just making that stuff up, but our seltzer, the prismatic dragon, is a 15 fruit combination of craziness. So yeah, each beer was themed after the color and the I guess the attitude or the theme behind each dragon. So yeah, hopefully everyone enjoyed them. We got a lot of positive feedback and excited to share them with you.
I have had all of these beers, but I definitely wanted to make sure that this was a showcased episode. I wanted to make sure that you finally got, because I've been trying to get you on the show for a while now, and I wish we had done this before, but I'm glad we're able to do this.
Yeah, it's not like we're 2 busy guys or anything, you know.
No. And we have to meet on a Zoom call in order to record this.
And we're only 2.5 hours away from each other right now.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Which one did you open first?
So the first one that I have here is the White Dragon.
Okay.
Which is your witch beer?
That is a coconut, banana, vanilla wit beer.
Coconut. I'm definitely getting the I am definitely getting the banana on the nose.
Okay. The banana is very prominent. We actually use banana puree, whereas in a lot of hefts and wit beers, if you use a Belgian yeast, you can get that kind of banana clove flavor. I wanted it to stand out, so we threw in banana puree because I couldn't think of a bigger white combination than banana, coconut, vanilla, and wit beer. Like when you're trying to make a white dragon.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna go for the sip here, but I will let you know this is the one that I like the least because of the banana. I'm just not
Fair.
A banana person. I don't like the Belgian beers because of that banana characteristic from the yeast. I just like artificial
you should have told
banana.
Me that before we picked all 4 of them.
Yeah, I know. It's fine. It's fine. That is very good. It does have
I'm not getting the coconut so much.
That's Cody's fault. He was afraid I would over coconut it and make it taste like suntan lotion.
Oh, I've never once thought that coconut was suntan lotion.
I think the idea was because it was going more of a tropical flavor. He was afraid of which is funny because we call him overkill because he always wants to add more of everything. But the man is like terrified of coconut. And so we scaled that back just a hair and tried to kick up the banana vanilla side of it.
I am definitely getting the banana is definitely the most prominent feature of this beer.
Sure.
And then it finishes with that sweetness from the vanilla. It's almost, I don't know, I'm getting like banana split vibes from this.
Okay.
So
I'm not mad about that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird. We have no chocolate in there. That's just, we did a
I wasn't
60. No, I know.
I was just talking about the vanilla ice cream and the banana aspect of it.
Gotcha. We actually did that was based on our wheat beer recipe, our wheat ale. If you remember that one from when we opened Lagnak Falad.
Mm-hmm.
But I kicked up the wheat side of it quite a bit. After we spent some time brewing with Roger over at Arlen's, and he told me he does his wit with like an 80% wheat base. I decided to up mine to about 65% wheat just to increase that mouthfeel and that body from the wheat. So yeah, shout out to Roger. We learned a lot from him.
Arlen's is definitely one of my favorite breweries.
Yeah. They're a great underrated brewery too.
Very underrated.
Yeah.
They make fantastic, clean, crisp beers.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He nails it on the lager style. Oh, we got to get you some of that Marzen too, don't we? You haven't had a chance to try it.
No, I tried it. It was at the Findlay Oktoberfest.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you went to that because I didn't.
Yeah.
I let my team go instead.
No, but this is... So with beers like this, I just because I don't like the banana, I don't want it, like people go on Untapped and be like, I don't like sour beers. Let me 1 star your sour beer.
Or 0 star. That's always nice.
Yeah. So I do enjoy this beer. It is if you like bananas and if you like Belgian beers, I would recommend this one. I personally,
Lucas does not.
I would not have this again.
Fair.
Just because of, I do enjoy it though. I do enjoy it. I think if it was like 90 degrees outside, I would be pounding this.
Yeah, it felt like an odd choice to go more tropical with it going into fall/winter season. But
screw it.
It rounded out the menu. And anyone that's not familiar with us knows that we adjunct the crap out of everything. And that one, we really tried to push the adjunct side of things because that's kind of our niche. We like to do crazy experimental brewing type things. And that was a flavor combination that I hadn't personally ever come across. So wanted to give it a shot.
Hey, your beer cans don't explode on me, so that's fine.
That's fair. Not yet. Give me time.
So here on the Pint Pals podcast, we have our very own rating system. It's an acronym, and we call it the PRO system. And each letter has its own meaning. P means probably won't drink again. R is regrettable. O is optimistic. S is satisfactory. And T is terrific. For this beer, I am going to give it an S. It is a good example of the beer style that it definitely hits what you were going for.
Sure.
You say there's coconut in here. I'll take your word for it. I didn't get
more
that
coconut
so much.
next time. Got it.
Yeah. Or I have had this sitting around for about 5 days.
It was a little light on the coconut when I tasted it fresh out too. So I think that's probably accurate. I would kick up the coconut if I make it again. Just because it's not a flavor. It's a flavor I wanted to come through and it didn't really shine because of the strength of the banana.
Gotcha. Well, the banana is definitely there. So if you are somebody who likes the classic Belgian beers, I would recommend that one for you.
Perfect.
Are you
Hey,
ready?
I'm just glad you didn't give it a P, okay?
No. Just because, not every beer was meant for me.
No, I would have been happy with anything but a P. I might have ended the call. I'm just kidding.
All right. So the second beer here is, and you're going to have to correct my pronunciation on this, Tiamat.
You're close. Tiamat. So
Tiamat.
Yep. Tiamat is a multi-headed dragon god that is basically evil. And we went with a couple of different heads for this one, if you will. This is a maple pistachio barley wine. So it's a first for us in a couple of realms. We'd never done a barley wine before. So that was an experiment in and of itself. And then that combination of maple pistachio, that was a Hail Mary kind of thing. We sat back there and spitballed over what flavors to make it, because both Cody and I have never really found a whole lot of barley wines that we enjoy. But we thought if we went the maple side, that would give it a sweetness that you don't normally get. And then how to complement that, we thought maybe something nutty and went with the pistachio.
Well, I will go ahead and say that this is an 11% barley wine. And the White Dragon, I forgot to mention, was a 5% beer.
5% was the lowest on tap for the weekend.
Yeah.
I think everything else was in the 8 to 10 realm.
Everything else that I have here is 10% and then 11% as well. So
I'm making sure you have a good afternoon.
It's going to be a good afternoon. I have when we get done here, I have trick-or-treaters coming by. So
and yeah,
that'll be fun for them.
Might be fun for you too, buddy.
Oh man, this is my first year giving out candy.
That's exciting.
Out of all the places that I've lived, yeah.
We my wife and I just moved to a new house, and we think we're going to get some trick-or-treaters this year, because our previous house we didn't get any. It was a dead end. So we bought a crap load of candy, and it's either going to pan out and we're going to give it all away, or it's going to be like 6 years ago when we moved into our first house and we're going to end up eating a whole lot of candy ourselves.
Yeah. We bought just a bag of candy last year, not knowing,
what you were gonna.
Yeah, and then they canceled it because of COVID, and I was like, okay, I get that, but now I have a box of like a bag of Three Musketeers that I have to eat. So,
oh darn,
if I must.
Yeah, right.
So on the nose again, I am getting like the maple syrup notes.
That had I don't even remember the exact measurement. It's a crap load of maple syrup. That was kind of like how we do our braggots with the honey. We almost did it the same way, where it's fermented on just a ton of maple syrup to give it that mapley flavor.
I told you this past weekend, and I'm going to say it again. This is the first barley wine that I've enjoyed.
Cheers.
I'm not getting the pistachio so much, which I like you said, the maple, if you put a bunch in, it's going to take away from it, or it's just me.
Sure.
But I don't know. I'm getting just like the pleasant sweetness from the maple. And what was the other maple? Did you have a maple beer? What was in the Elven breakfast that you did?
It was a maple blueberry.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of reminds me of that, just because of that sweetness. But back at my parents' house, my parents have about 3 or 4 different maple trees that we actually tap for syrup.
Okay.
And my mom doesn't like making them, but she has made in the past like little maple syrup candies.
Oh.
With the maple syrup that we collect and stuff.
Yeah.
This tastes exactly like that.
Awesome.
And I am very, very glad about that, because I love those candies when she makes them.
Awesome. Yeah, the pistachio, again, that it's a tricky flavor because it is more of a muted nut. There's it's not a strong flavor, right? Not like peanuts, where that really shows through. So with that one, I got more of the nuttiness on the exhale and not so much on the front of the flavor.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you're sensing any of that, or if you're just getting the sweetness.
I am just getting the sweetness, but I also like, is it pistachio as in like a pistachio nut, or is it pistachio as in like pistachio ice cream?
It was a puree that we got through Amaretti. So I would venture to guess it's more along the lines of like an ice cream flavor, where it's not as prevalent and strong.
Okay.
Because we didn't put the actual pistachio nuts in there.
Gotcha. Because that's more like the flavor I'm getting, like just a little bit, like you said, on the back end. Which pistachio ice cream is my least favorite ice cream, but
so this is a good thing.
This is a good thing. I enjoyed this quite a bit. How many? I know we're covering these beers now, and I hope to have this episode up next week.
Okay.
If somebody wants to come up there, are they still going to be able to get some of these beers?
Yeah, we should have all of those. We went full batches on everything. Bahamut and Tiamat were a little smaller just because of pushing that ABV and having to make a little bit of a smaller batch. But I think the most that we went through on anything was about half of the batch. So we still have probably a barrel of each left.
Oh, that's awesome.
Around about. So yeah, we should be in good shape to at least get into mid-November with all the dragons. Unless we just go crazy and start blowing things out and get a ton of hype for some reason.
You do also have that other event that's coming up.
Yeah, we have our Halloween event this weekend.
That's this weekend?
That is this weekend.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was Cody's wife Mariah, her brainchild. She wanted to do a Halloween party because we've never really done one. We've tried to celebrate low key, but because it falls right after the anniversary, we kind of shied away from it. But she came up with some great ideas. We're doing a pet costume contest, a human costume contest. We've got prizes, we've got raffles. We're gonna show some horror movies, the ones that don't have copyrights. I can't think of the term for that, but the old school Nosferatu, Frankenstein, that kind of thing. And just kind of have a good time. They decorated the crap out of the place and put all kinds of spooky stuff up. Yeah.
So that's this Saturday, the 30th, right?
It is. Yep.
Okay. I wanted to say that date so people don't know, because I don't think I'll be able to get this up in time. No,
that's fine. That's fine. We've got lots of fun stuff planned. I'm going to try to put together another crafters market for Christmas.
Oh, okay.
Probably right around the time that we drop our Christmas ale. So we've got a fun idea for a super adjunct Christmas ale this year that we're going to brew next weekend. Another experiment, because you know how I am. So yeah, should be a good time.
No, I'm excited. I'll try to make my way up for that as well.
Yeah, we're actually trying to get, we've been invited to the Catawba Island Brewing tap takeover for Christmas beers.
Oh, that's awesome.
We want to make sure we get that squared away and good to go before then.
Are you doing a Christmas beer or a braggot?
We're going to bring back the Huntmasters braggot, but it'll probably be a little later. And then we're doing the Christmas ale. That's going to be a brand new one. The new Christmas ale that we're going to do actually with the guys from the Another Path podcast.
Okay.
We've done a spring. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, was one of them there? Was I talking to one and not even realizing it?
Probably. Ryan, glasses, shorter, dark hair.
Yeah, I made a joke about Manchester United with him.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's he was there for, I think, all 3 days this weekend. He popped in to say hey, and so we've done a spring beer with them. We've done a fall beer with them. So now we're going to do a winter beer themed after their show for our Christmas ale this year.
Now I've been terrible about listening to their shows. Like there's about 4 or 5 different D&D podcasts that I listen to. So it's been kind of hard to keep track with all the campaigns, all the characters for each one.
Right.
But I've finally started listening to Another Path again.
Nice.
And I was just wondering, did you, because I know their thing is like, if you subscribe to them on Patreon or something like that, they'll name a NPC after you.
Yeah, that's one of their things. They've got a bunch of tier rewards for their Patreon.
Do you have a character named after you on that show?
I don't. We've talked because I was either going to do something along those lines, or we've talked about putting in some kind of artifact themed after Aistear.
Okay.
So it's something that's kind of out there. I just really enjoy listening to them. They're great guys. They come into the brewery all the time. So yeah, it's always a good time to collab with them. Kind of like yourself.
Yeah, we've done 2 beers together, right?
We sure have. And I still have a little bit of Fruit Nukem tucked away in the corner.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
So you weren't able to make it to the wedding reception, but we had fruit. Did you get the pictures? Did Alexa send you the pictures?
Yes, she did send me the pictures. Yeah.
That flew like crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody enjoyed that.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
They enjoyed it more than the because I wanted to do the fun beer, and then I brought a lager from where I work.
Oh, okay.
Just to have,
Yeah.
And I thought more people were gonna go for the lager. And I didn't use I brought 2 6 barrels, and we only went through half of one of the 6 barrels.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Huh.
But the Fruit Nukem was pretty much all gone.
Yeah, it was damn near the bottom of the keg. Actually, we had a lot of comments. We took that one to the Beer and Bacon Festival along with the berry porter that we had made with the Glass City Mashers.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a lot of comments on Fruit Nukem that they also thought that one was phenomenal. So that was a good call on the flavor combination and everything that you and I came up with.
Well, we had to substitute the flavor combination because I wanted to use the like Spider-Man ice cream bars
that apparently don't exist anymore.
They don't exist anymore, apparently. So we went with different like popsicle fruit bars or whatever it was.
Yeah, whatever Cody bought at the store. It was like strawberry, lemon, and lime or something like that.
Something like that. Well, anyway, I've been sipping on this and I'm about halfway, and I know I am going to finish this one for sure. I'm going to give this one a T. For the main reason, because it's the first barley wine that I actually enjoy. And you said that I was talking about the sweetness. You were talking about the sweetness of how much like maple syrup's in here. It's not to the point where it's like overwhelming and like sticking to the roof of your mouth, like just like a sticky consistency almost.
Right.
This is, I mean, it's just sweet and light.
Awesome. I think a lot of that's because we put the syrup in pre-fermentation, so a lot of it got eaten out, all that sugar.
Gotcha.
So it really just left behind some of that maple flavor.
So the next one that I have here is Red Dragon.
The Red Dragon. So that's an interesting beer. That was actually a homebrew recipe, pre-Aistear Brewing. That was a mead, a cherry habanero mead. We can't do meads right now because we don't have a wine license. So we went the braggot route with everything. And a braggot, for anyone that doesn't know, it's essentially a beer that's fermented with a lot of honey. Another way to make them is to combine a beer with a mead and just mix the two together, but we go straight through the brewing process with it. And this one is a cherry habanero braggot that to me needed a little more habanero, but it was our first shot with doing fresh habaneros in our big system because we hadn't done that up to this point. So I didn't want to turn it into jet fuel and murder everybody at the party. So we went a little subtle on the habanero, and I used a sour cherry puree in it to give it the cherry flavor.
I do have to say, I don't know if it's going to show up on the camera, but the color of this, I think, matches the description of just cherry habanero. Like it has that like a cherry reddish tinge to this.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. I also love braggots.
Did you know that before we opened?
What?
That you love braggots?
No, I didn't. I think I had one braggot before, and that was just because I was working at BG Beverage Center.
Oh yeah.
And I think I tried like one of the I guess, mass-produced ones by I'm sure I'm going to butcher this, the Danks Nord company. They're the ones that do the Vikings blood.
Oh, okay.
I think they had a braggot that I tasted.
That makes sense.
But now I can't get enough of these.
Well, good thing we keep cranking them out for you.
Yes, absolutely.
Fruit Nukem was the braggot.
Fruit Nukem was a braggot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to spill. It's like filled to the brim.
Yeah, you really did take that to the top.
Oh. I love this braggot. It's got the cherry, the habanero, like the heat is there, which personally I prefer. Like if there's peppers and beer and whatnot, like a Mexican hot chocolate stout or something like that, I prefer just to have that warmth instead of like my tongue is being burnt off.
Right.
And the cherry is there as well. And I don't know. This is, I think, an excellent fall beer, even though it's
okay
a braggot. Just because, like, on a cold day, I could sit outside and sip on this all day.
Yeah, it's got that warming element to it.
Yes. Yep. And I wish I had more than what I have. I'm just gonna do one sip in here.
I mean, I've got more. I can hook you up, brother.
Oh, I know you can, and I appreciate that.
That one was what, about 10%, I think?
It is 10%.
So that's going to give you a little warmth too.
Yes, but again, like all of these, like your higher ABV ones, like none of them have oh man, what's the highest ABV beer like what you've did? The
probably Forgotten Realm.
Forgotten Realm. That was what, like
13
around, yeah. Like none of the stuff you make has like that alcohol, like jet fuel consistency, which is very good. And
yeah, I'm not a fan of beers that come out like that.
Yeah, I've had like most of my barrel aged stuff, like I buy it and then I'll sit on it a year because I know, like, if I just crack into it right away, it's going to be like
burn.
I just took a shot of whiskey.
Yeah. Yep. And I don't care for those. I try to age my stouts like that too. The braggots, because they are a higher ABV, right? We use a ton of honey in them. I think that's why they don't have that, is because of the sweetness from the honey. It kind of cuts through versus just a high ABV beer.
I have had beer from all across Ohio. Are you still like one of the only ones that are making braggots? Because I can't think of anybody else. I mean, the only other thing that I can think of is, didn't Funky Turtle make one?
They've done a couple here and there. They do them as collabs with other breweries usually. But no, I know they've done, I want to say they did a braggot with maybe Patron Saints, where they supplied the mead and Patron Saints supplied the ale.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I think it was like a snow cone thing or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know they've done a snow cone.
Yeah.
Everyone makes so much beer in Northwest Ohio anymore. I can't keep up with all the collabs and styles and flavors. We're finally getting Northwest Ohio on par with the rest of the state.
419 Ale Trail.
Hell yeah, man. That's been phenomenal. We love being a part of that.
I think next year, because we did a Columbus Ale Trail. There's my Columbus Ale Trail book. We did an Ale Trail episode. When's this, like, is it a season or is it just like go until you complete it type thing?
You know, I'd have to look into the rules on it.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly what they set. Well, I've only done 2 check-ins myself because I never get to leave the brewery.
Which ones?
Myself and who was the other one? Oh, Juniper? Six fifths when I dropped the keg off. No, I haven't even been to any of the other local ones since we kicked it off. So it's been, I mean, like I said, we were busting our butts all season long, just getting ready for this party. So hopefully him and I can get out and visit a few more places now.
But that is, man, your braggots are delicious.
Thank you.
I'm gonna give this one a T as well, just because, like, when you make something like this is also ideal for, you know, when you go to a brewery with somebody who doesn't drink beer.
Yeah.
Like, it's technically a beer, but it leans very heavy into like the mead side of things.
Sure.
And my God, I'm, you know, as much as I miss Nate right now, I'm kind of glad he's not here, because this is all for me now. So.
Yeah, you don't have to share. And I'm remote, so I'm not even drinking with you. It's a shame.
It is a shame. It is a shame. But it's
I
like,
should be drinking.
You should. So I'm not doing this alone.
I'm with you in spirit and on camera. But no, I mean, you hit something on the head right there with what you just said. Like, we do a lot of beers for non-beer drinkers just because of the demographic that we draw and the amount of other bars and breweries in Bowling Green. Like, we've got to be an alcohol capital of America with as much as we have there. So there's plenty of places where beer drinkers can go. And we have a couple of offerings, like we do a double IPA. We do a couple of different, you know, blonde ales, ambers, things like that for the beer drink. But that's part of the reason I lean so heavily into the adjunct style and the braggot style, is because I want to make beer that tastes different and will attract a wider base crowd so that everyone that comes in has something that they can drink and enjoy.
No, and I think that's great, because I mean, you know, my wife, Alexis, doesn't like
anything.
She likes some like heavily fruited sours, to like the point where they're like almost like sour Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
And she even has a Kool-Aid sour in the fridge right now. But I don't know if you've ever had any of these guys' beer, but Tripping Animals.
I haven't.
They make a lot of fun, different fruited sours. She's a big fan of them. But when she came in and like actually likes your beers, I'm like, yes.
Man, me too, because I knew from the start she wasn't a big beer drinker. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, she told me she liked 3 of the dragons. I can't remember which ones, but
I think she liked the seltzer that you made.
Yeah. Red Dragon, I feel like, was one of them. Maybe red and blue. Those are more of the fruited ones.
Yeah, I think it was red and blue. I can't remember. I think she did like Red Dragon though.
Yeah, which I was surprised because of, you know, the habanero and.
Well, it's not overwhelming, so you know,
no,
it's not like a palate wrecker like the last one that I have here is.
It's not a palate wrecker, but it will.
It's a palate scorched earth.
Wow. All right. It's definitely a flavorful beverage. Flavorful beverage.
I love it. And I'm going to use my Aistear Con mug from 2020.
Oh, good. You'll be able to get the whole can into that one.
Yeah. And eventually, you know, I have a feeling that this mug right here for your first con glass is going to be worth some money at some point. So,
man, I hope so. It's not all about the money, but it is nice when you can, you know, run a successful business.
Yeah. So, this is Bahamut.
Yes.
I said that one right. Okay. Do you want to talk about this one?
Sure. So Bahamut is, I'm going to give Cody all the credit on this one. This was his brainchild. He wanted to do a Mexican cake stout, Mexican chocolate cake stout. Him and I are both big stout fans, and we like to try different things. And we've cranked out some good ones in the past. Like, I think previous to this, if you remember Berserker, Lucas, that was our breakfast stout with a little maple and lactose in it. So we wanted to go a different direction with this one. And I personally feel like we nailed it pretty well. This might be the beer that I'm most proud of ever putting out of Aistear Brewing. He came up with the ideas. I built the recipe around it, and we cranked out one heck of a Mexican cake stout, in my opinion.
When I was up there, everything that I had, because I've had all of these beers, and these beers are definitely the best beers that have come out of Aistear, I would say.
Thank you.
Even counting the ones that I was a part of. But hey, Fruit Nukem had some success. So
Fruit Nukem was great, and Brewed Theater had. It was a good beer. It was not what we were aiming for.
It was not what we were aiming for.
But we'll try that one again someday.
Yeah. God, it just smells. It just smells amazing. It's like that. Oh, it just.
No, you're good. So I'm not gonna lie. When we added all of the adjuncts, so we did cacao nibs, vanilla, cinnamon, and habaneros, obviously. We literally just sat there smelling the pile of adjuncts before we added it to the tank because it smelled amazing. Just all that stuff sitting together in a pile. It was pretty good, and the flavors all came through.
I just had a sip and I needed a sip of water because I mean it's just me. It's me. I'm a big wuss when it comes to like spicy food and stuff like that. Like there are some days that Taco Bell is too much for me. Right? Yeah. But this has more heat than the cherry than the Red Dragon does for sure. But this is a fantastic stout. Like this is I wish there was snow on the ground because I would enjoy it even more than like
it's perfect for that season with that warmth and that body. Yeah.
This is like, I know you don't have like a core set of beers, but this is something that if I were you, I would consider keeping around at least, for fall and winter time at least.
Okay.
Just for that. Because I mean, I don't
know.
I don't think it would do well in the summer, but that's just because it's what's a
yeah, that one's a bit much for a summer beer. No, and I'll give you a sneak peek behind some of our thoughts. We actually want to do a barrel aged version of that, a bourbon barrel version. So we're in the works to try and arrange that because we don't have any barrels right now, but we're gonna try and get that done.
What about 6/5? Do they?
He doesn't use actual wooden barrels because he doesn't do whiskey or bourbon yet.
Okay.
So we've reached out to a few places. We got some stuff in the works, but that's definitely high on our list of doing a bourbon barrel.
So back to the stout. Like I'm just getting like a tingly sensation in my mouth from how many? Because you use like actual peppers in this, right?
We did. For that and Red Dragon, we used fresh habaneros. Red Dragon, we only did, I want to say it was like 15 to 20 because again, that was our first shot with it and I didn't want to make jet fuel. Cody, aka Overkill, wanted to bump it up. I think we put about 40 to 50 peppers into this one because he really wanted that heat to come through, especially with the dark malts, the roastiness, the chocolate. So he was really trying to force that heat, and I think it worked.
I think it does work too, and I think it also works with the whole dragon theme as well.
Yeah.
And I just realized something. So yesterday I put up a new episode, but I totally forgot that we had even recorded that episode. And so I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have Hoofhearted's Dragon Saddle Day.
Yep.
And then I'm going to have Aistear's pretty much Dragon Con. And I'm like, oh, that's a lot of dragons.
Yeah. Well, Hoofhearted makes some amazing beer too. And their dragon saddle's a little different than our chromatic dragon, but there's plenty of dragon for everyone to play with.
So I'm going to go ahead and give this one a T as well.
Oh man.
Because this is an absolutely delicious stout. And Chris, I am very proud of you because I know everything that you've gone through with your brewery and all the different problems that you've, like, every little bump in the road that you've hit. And I just want to say I'm proud of you. And it's really great to see, because we've had conversations before, like when you first started brewing to like where you are now is like a night and day difference.
Oh, sure.
And like it wasn't like I don't want to say you had bad beers, but like what you said, like green beers.
Yeah.
Like it took some time to like just figure out what you were doing, and like now you're hitting it out of the park each and every time.
Oh, thank you, brother.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I don't think a lot of people who start a brewery understand the learning curve between going from a 15-gallon in your garage set to, we do a 2-barrel system. So that was a big change. I wasn't brewing the beers when we started, and that's changed this year, and bringing on Cody, who gives a bunch of different perspective and understanding of beer himself. I think that's really pushed us to where we are right now. So I'm glad that you think it's working.
My sinuses are clearing.
Awesome. You have that with a bowl of chili, you're all set.
Oh my God. So real quick before we wrap the show here.
Sure.
Usually, we do a beers of the night.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, since it's just me and it's all your beer, I mean,
we'll say not White Dragon.
Not yeah. Then okay. After that, I would probably put, it's the order that it's in that we tried everything in, honestly.
Okay.
Because the Mexican hot chocolate and Mexican cake stout is definitely my favorite, and then Red Dragon, and then Tiamat, and then White Dragon. But all of these beers that I've had today and last weekend, I've thoroughly enjoyed. And no, I'm really glad we were able to make this episode happen. And
yeah, me too.
Are you is there anything else you want to mention before we wrap up here, or?
No, I mean, we covered a lot of things that have been going on with Aistear, and really just, I know you guys usually do a cheers kind of thing at the end of the show.
Yeah.
So I just want to cheers to all our customers, everyone, our friends, our family, yourself, everyone that's really made the last 2 years super special and important, and really pushed us to where we are right now. So it's been phenomenal. Cheers to everybody.
Yeah, I will definitely cheers to that. I guess we'll just go into the cheers section here.
Sorry, I jumped the gun on you.
No, you're fine. You're fine. My cheers is going to be to you, Chris, to all the success that you've had so far. And thanks for coming on the show and supplying me with these beers. I really do appreciate it, and I appreciate you. So this one's for you, Chris.
Cheers, brother. Nate missed out. We'll have to hook him up later.
Yeah. Oh man, I tried to get him to come on, but he's got a real job of being a teacher. So,
well, these things do happen. That's kind of important.
And then my last cheers of the night is going to be to all of our listeners out there. Thank you so much. And again, everybody, you can catch us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. So thank you so much, everybody. Here's to you.
Cheers. Man, you're on a lot of platforms.
Yeah, we're on pretty much everything.
I just solely use Spotify, so
it's really great because I am also on I guess I should have said this. I'm on Sounder FN.
You've had too many dragons. I know. Can't do it.
Oh, jeez. I'm on Sounder FM, which is basically like an internet radio that does podcasts.
Okay.
And from that page there, all I do is just copy the link that I have to my profile, and it sends it to all of them.
Oh, nice.
Other than YouTube, which I have to, but I do YouTube first, then download as an MP3, and then upload on Sounder FM.
that works. That makes it's kind of like Instagram. You can just put your post on Instagram and share it to everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
All right. Is there anything you wanted to add real quick? Any events?
I'm good, brother. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course.
We got all kinds of stuff in the works, but I think I gave away most of my secrets already. Got the Halloween party, the Christmas beer, the craft market, a lot of stuff planned for the end of the year here. So
where can people find
pretty excited.
Aistear Brewing on like social media platforms and stuff like that?
So we are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Couldn't tell you the handles off the top of my head because I think I had to change a couple of them. It's either Aistear Brewing is one word or Aistear_Brewing. We're the only one, so it should be pretty easy to find. Have a website that I never update. So if you find a beer list out there on our Square site, just ignore that because that's probably about 8 months old. And yeah, so we're out there. Give us a follow. We're always posting different things. If you're local to Bowling Green or coming through the area, we've got game nights, events that we pop up with. That's how we announce all our new beers that we're dropping. So definitely give us a follow on one of our social medias.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you again, Chris, for coming on. And that brings us to an end of another episode of the Pint Pals podcast. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Hey everybody, thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Pint Pals podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you go down and click on the little subscribe button and then hit the little ding bell. And later, if you get annoyed of looking at Lucas and myself, you can go ahead and hit the unsubscribe, but then go over to Spotify and drop us a follow. Or if you like to listen on iHeartRadio, Apple, or Google Podcasts, we appreciate you all. Now it's time to open up a cold one, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.